Hi everybody, I am Cassandra and I'm dying. I have a genetic condition called Ehlers-Danlos syndrome that is a connective tissue disorder, and it wreaks havoc in every area of the body. I've had a particularly hard and extreme case of it, or just more on the severe side of this, very wide spectrum. And it means that my body is shutting down. My GI tract has pretty much stopped working. I have a permanent feeding tube that was placed, and I get formula through there. I'm able to eat a little bit, but I've had a very hard time tolerating food and formula. My lungs kind of stopped working, not completely, but they've gotten a lot worse, and I never had lung issues before. So now I'm on supplemental oxygen, and a lot is happening to my body, and my heart is struggling. My body's just really having a hard time, and I've made the decision to stop pursuing any medical care or treatment, or keep using the devices that keep me alive. I'm not doing it yet because obviously I have this oxygen here, but that's the goal, and that will be happening in the next couple of months. So at this point, I wanted to make this video because I have shared this news on social media. I shared with friends and family first, and then shared on social media, and I'm very grateful. I've gotten a tremendous amount of support and outreach. I struggle with the people who I've reached out to for support over the years that have never made the time, that now suddenly are really interested in kind of knowing everything that's going on. It's like that saying, something along the lines, I'm going to totally get it wrong, I'm sure, but you don't get to see me at my best if you're not there for my worst. And not that dying is the best, obviously, but it's just the idea that it's like you don't get to have very intimate details of what's going on when you haven't been involved in my life. I don't, there's been drama with my ex, and ultimately the way people have handled this, the number of people who have made this all about them is really shocking. I'm not, anytime I've been around somebody who was dying, I went through this with my grandmother last year. I was extremely close, like in every hospice appointment, every doctor's appointment, like you name it, and I was there. And anything she wanted or did not want was up to her. Our opinions didn't matter. What we wanted doesn't matter. It's the person's wishes, right? So it's just the idea that it's like suddenly now that I'm dying, a lot of people too who also used to tell me that they thought I was still sick because I got a lot of attention from it, and that I didn't want to get well because it was serving me to stay sick, or people being convinced that I didn't go out with them to some social thing because of the fact that I said I couldn't because of my health. And people being convinced and saying that it's not your health, you're using your health as an excuse, etc. And it's like asking somebody with one leg to go and run a marathon. They're incapable without prosthetics. So how on earth? It's just because I'm pretty, because I look healthy, people question me the whole way down, and it's been very painful for me. I am at the point where I'm not making this video. It's not about any one particular person. It's just a trend of things that I have gone through over the years that, as a chronically ill person, I feel very strongly this statement needs to be made to people who are healthy and have no idea the way they treat people, and how hurtful it is. And it's not people even being mean, lashing out. It's none of that. It's just almost completely disappearing. Or, when things get really hard, oh my God, the number of people that are like, oh God, again, something's wrong with her health again. Okay. the nature of chronic illness. But my point is that people leave. People don't want to deal with it. It makes them fear their own death and think about things they don't want to think about. And they, end up saying, awful things or just not showing up at all. So something in particular that I dealt with that I think is really important to acknowledge and to say is that I, to the people who have said, and I'm sure this video is probably all over the place, it is what it is, to the people who have said things to me along the lines of, you're still sick because it serves you. Once you, really truly want to have a life, you'll stop being sick and you'll get over that. Like, you'll work through this and go to therapy and not be sick anymore. Like, I'm telling you, the things I've been told are reprehensible. And it's quite a few people that I've had these experiences with in my life. And, it's infuriating. So the idea, though, that, at this point it's too late, right? Like, I'm dying, but my hope is that, again, that if any healthy, able-bodied people watch this, please, understand I don't get anything from being sick. I've actually lost everything from being sick. Why would that serve me? So I could be on disability and make $800 a month and be in forced federal poverty? Or so I can miss out on weddings and funerals and baby showers and all the family and friend events and important milestones? Really? Or so I can go ahead and miss out on going and traveling and doing the thing that I love the most. I wanted to go and travel before I died, and it's not possible because of my body. It's just the idea that people even think that someone gains anything from this is just disgusting. And the reality is, I wasn't diagnosed with EDS until almost 2 years ago. But it's a gene that you're born with. And if you have the gene, you have the diagnosis. Unlike other illnesses where you can have the gene and not have the illness triggered yet, kind of the BRCA gene, things like that. It wasn't until I got this diagnosis, which again is only in the past 2 years, that people really started to rally around me more. And, last year I was hospitalized for 7 weeks in April through May. And then I was hospitalized 3 times within 2 months from September through November. I had open heart surgery with a huge blood clot that was found in my heart. It was emergency open heart surgery. And then I recovered from that and went to have another follow-up echo, and they found another blood clot in my heart 2 weeks post-op, mind you. That blood clot then moved to my lung and became a pulmonary embolism. That then turned into having to have a surgery to replace my port, which is what I get all my IV meds through. And then I was admitted again not long after because I was deathly ill. I was basically hemorrhaging because bottom line is I had 3 surgeries in that admission alone. And even through all of that, people somehow couldn't find the time to reach out. I don't get it. I really don't understand. And again, this is not about any axe I have to grind with any one individual person. This is please just think about how you treat people. I mean, that applies for everything in life, but in a situation like this where I have a largely invisible illness, if I take the oxygen off, you don't see my feeding tube or my port. I don't look so great these days. I'm not so healthy, but you wouldn't be able to tell. If I threw on a pair of jeans and a shirt, like I said, that covered everything and wasn't wearing oxygen, I've had people say horrendous things to me for parking in the handicap spots because of the fact that I look healthy and everyone thinks that I'm fine. So all that to say that I've looked healthy while dying. So you cannot go by that. Don't go by how someone looks. Of course, it can be an indicator of what's going on inside their body and health-wise, but you just can't use that as the way to kind of know what's really going on. You know, I also hope there are healthy people who I unfortunately experienced this. My ex-fiance's, a lot of her friends didn't like me and thought that I was using my health as an excuse a lot when I was in and out of the hospital the entire year last year, pretty much. And the year before that, I was also struggling. And it just asking me to do things that to them was no big deal. And they couldn't even comprehend that there's so much more that goes into just even me going out for like drinks with someone. I don't drink, but like, you know, meeting for a dinner or lunch or whatever. It's, you know, sitting on chairs. I've had 8 spine surgeries. A lot of chairs are very uncomfortable and cause a lot of pain for me. It's, you know, do I have a doctor's appointment the next morning at 8 a.m. that I need to get up for so I can't stay out till 1 in the morning on a weeknight? Like, it's those things. And again, I was told over and over that I was using my health as an excuse and that that's what, you know, it was just that simple. So I have always said to anybody around me, including my mom, there have been times where she's wanted to get out of a family function or some work event or whatever. And she'll say to me like, oh gosh, you know, maybe I can say like, it's because of your health. And I've said every single time, do not ever say that unless it's legitimately my health. With my ex's friends, like if I don't want to go to things and there were things I just didn't want to go to, I said, I don't want to go to that. Like, I don't have a problem saying no. That's not the issue. I'm not using my health as an excuse is the bottom line. Like, I'm not, the very little extra energy I had, I'm sorry, wasn't going to go to her friends or, you know, and again, this isn't specific to her. This is just, it's the dynamics that a lot of people with chronic illness face. And it's frustrating. It's hurtful. It's pretty awful to go through all of that. And, you know, like I said, now a bunch of people are surrounding me and I'm grateful for the support and outreach. Like it's better late than never kind of thing. You know, it's like always reach out to somebody even if you think it's too late. But again, it's the trend. It's not specifically about me even or my story. It's about our culture and the way we think about illness and death and what we view disabled and chronically ill people as, which is less than because we don't have, you know, a career and a degree and, you know, have a bunch of money in the bank. I just hope that anybody who watches this, you can take what I'm saying into account and treat people better. This applies to like anything. It's not specifically chronic illness, but there is definitely an element of it's specifically chronic illness. If you run into people again, which you will, because a good percentage of the United States has a chronic illness, be kind, be understanding. And look, of course there are people that do it for attention. Of course, like I understand that I'm not naive. Ultimately, it's not your place to judge. So it's the idea that, especially if this is not somebody super close to you in your life, and even then you have to be very careful because I had several people pretty damn close to me who were convinced that I was making this all up and or crazy or that I somehow was gaining something from this. Through all of this, I've said I've had very little support. What would I gain from that, right? If I wanted to be sick and get all the attention, I haven't gotten any. So why would I still be sick? I don't know, maybe it's because I actually have health issues. I'm going to do my best to try and make as many YouTube videos as I can because I like to document things and post on my Instagram regularly. So if you want updates, go check there. It's at Just My Jeans. I'll put like the handle down there. But I have a couple of videos previous to this, facts about me and just a little bit more about my story or my experience with open heart surgery and that kind of thing. So if you have any interest in any of that, feel free to check that out. And if you want to make sure you don't miss anything, hit the subscribe button. I am grateful for people who are interested. And again, if you're somebody who is in my life and you haven't reached out, don't take this as I don't want you to reach out. I'm not saying this to anyone specific. I'm just saying in general. I want to make that very clear that this is not just about me. This is the concept of treatment of chronically ill people that I have an axe to grind with, not individual people. I will do YouTube videos as much as I'm able to without putting pressure on myself to edit and film if I don't feel well. Stick around if you want to see more videos. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.